Good morning.
Hey, Kev. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Mayor. Friday.
Yeah.
Beautiful Friday, by the way. It's like this time of year, I always feel like, is this the last 80-degree day?
I think
is this the last 75-degree sunny day?
I think these are the last high 70s, low 80-degree days we're going to see
in a row, probably. Yeah, and I think
it's supposed to be nice till Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's 80 today, I heard, and the leaves are falling at night though, so it's kind of that time of year where get the rakes out, go buy the bags at Home Depot or Menards or your local hardware store.
I let nature take its course with the leaves.
I can't. I got like 80 bags worth.
Yeah, your situation's a little different than mine.
Some big
but like
trees.
Seriously, I rake my yard and then I come back 1 hour later. It looks like
I agree. Same.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah, you got to just keep rolling. But well, we're gonna have a good show today, Mayor. Got a nice, really exciting guest.
Yeah, William Godwin. He's the city council president in the city of Gary.
Going to talk about Gary. We're going to talk about all kinds of political things with him and his business and why he settled in Gary and his story. It's a really good one, and I would encourage everybody to stick around and listen because it's going to be good.
And, in the meantime, Kevin and I are going to do we're sort of working with the new format where we start off the show and do some topics with just the two of us, and then we have our guests come in and visit, I guess almost 20%, 30% through the show, and then we finish up the show with the guests. So
we're going to try to kibitz for a while, talk about some stuff, and
kibitz?
Sure. Why not? That's what we're doing.
You tired?
Talking.
You seem like
it's been a long week, but I'm ready.
You seem like you're tired.
Well, let's talk about the show then.
Well, last night, there's a reason. The Bears last night were playing, and
the Bears.
That's I
stayed up late. I watched the whole.
We
game.
got a lot to talk about with that. I lost some money.
You bet against the Bears 2 weeks in a row?
That's because you listen to people that you shouldn't listen to. Or you decide on your own.
I bet on the Bears last night.
I looked at the odds.
It's not Tom Brady and the Patriots.
It's
John.
not Tom
Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but they got Gronk, man.
Gronk, who didn't play for a year because he was old and hurt.
I don't know this stuff, man. I don't follow it.
But I know you're listening to Phil's Lock of the Week, and speaking of, we're going to have him on the air in a couple seconds. We're going to start off the show with Phil's Lock of the Week, and I think it's important to point out to our listening audience, the reason we give you Phil's Lock of the Week is so you could bet against it and make money.
I would think that's the way to go. We're going to get into that in a minute.
I think Phil actually thinks it's a lock of the week, but we're doing this as a public service.
Oh, no, it's Phil and John thinks it's a lock of the week. John usually will follow what Phil does.
No, not anymore.
This is a public service we're offering to the region, though, because Phil's lock of the week is notoriously wrong.
The betting public.
He is on hold if we want to bring him on.
Oh, can he hear everything we're talking about?
Yes. Let's tease it with Phil. We got to do our sponsors, and we got to talk about our show. Lindsay, you want to go real quick and talk about why we're here and what we're doing?
Hello, guys. I came onto this show just for you for a very, very brief amount of time.
What's up, Linz?
How are you? You guys
good.
Seem a little tired.
I do not seem tired.
I'm ready.
I think Kevin seems tired. I'm
going to drink my coffee while you're talking.
I'm wired as normal.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
This is coffee cup number 2 for me, so I'm ready to go.
Look out.
Kevin's
did you
dragging
give
it
him decaf
down
today, Linz?
No, I did not. So hopefully
you gave
that'll
me
kick
decaf
in soon.
once?
Yes, that's on purpose.
Yeah, because you're getting a little too crazy.
Really?
You're getting me in trouble.
Don't give me decaf.
When the cuss counter was rolling, we were like, we got to go to decaf.
I honestly, God,
it's got to go right to decaf.
In my life,
now.
I've probably only had 1 or 2 cups of decaf. It's just a complete waste. Like, why the hell would you drink coffee? It's not like it tastes wonderful.
Well, some people shouldn't drink caffeine, heart conditions, things like that.
Or they're pregnant. My friend's pregnant right now. She can't have that much caffeine. So.
Well, I got good news. I am not pregnant. So
you
sure? Know what? That is a headline.
Yeah. I am not, so I could guzzle caffeine.
Well, thank God for that. I couldn't use another sibling. We already got plenty. So
yeah.
All right, guys.
It would be a beautiful baby I made, though. It would be. It would have
Lindsay,
it would have my wry sense of humor and my muscular build.
Okay.
Cute little freckles.
Lindsay, it's time.
It would be a beautiful baby
time.
I make.
Are you ready, Dad?
We're ready.
Okay, cool.
Everyone's ready.
She's like, please stop talking.
You're listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while trying to have a little too much fun while doing it. And if you can't get enough of us, follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LockPod, LOCPOD. If you can't listen in live, download our episodes from the Apple Podcast or Spotify app and enjoy our show at a crystal clear 287 kilohertz per second. Just search Left of Center and search for our red and blue logo. If you're also interested in sponsoring us and exposing your business or candidate to thousands of people with each episode,
thousands,
feel free to contact our Facebook page or me directly, Lindsay McDermott, on Facebook. You could also email me at lindsaymcdermott1992@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to set that up for you.
Thanks, Linz.
So
You're welcome.
to download it on Apple Podcast, it's very easy, right, Lindsay?
You go to the
Everybody
well,
that's got an iPhone has an
step
Apple Podcast
one, have an
app.
iPhone.
Right.
Step two, go
Or an
to
iPad.
Apple Podcast app. It's purple.
It's the purple. Yeah, it's purple and it says podcast.
It has like an eye with like circles around it.
you click
Should
below
be
it.
very easy
and
to
you
find.
click it.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking through this right now on my phone. And then you can go to search,
Right.
type Left of Center Podcast.
Left of center pod. Lock pod.
Not
Don't
Lock Pod.
do not
Not
type
on, not on
Lock
Apple.
Pod.
I was just
Dad,
saying
you're
that.
being misleading.
He's confusing
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
It's
I
really
forgot.
easy, but let me confuse you.
Yes.
Left of center podcast.
Our logo is a gradient from red to blue.
It's
you
right
know,
on our
like the
bottom. It's
political
right on the
spectrum.
bottom
Good.
of our screen right
And then
now.
you-
it
then you
says- yes,
subscribe.
literally, that is, if you're looking at
and then
it
once you
live or on
subscribe, it
YouTube.
starts deducting money right from your ATM account, which is
No.
wonderful. Right.
Once again, you're confusing everyone.
oh my bad.
That's a
That-
great
that's
way to get
eventually-
subscribers.
I
That's
wish it
eventually
was
where we
easy.
want to head. So
It's
I
free.
wish it was that
Yeah.
easy to get
where
cash.
we just siphon off your checking account. It's going to be
This
wonderful.
went from getting
so.
subscribers to like
Yeah,
how
everybody's
how not to
unsubscribing.
subscribe. We're going to charge you.
I am unsubscribing.
By the way, the logo for the podcast, Apple Podcast app and Spotify is right here. Thank you, John, for doing a great job. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see the logo and the icons for
Actually,
downloading.
it's free, and it's hard for you to
Thank you.
understand and comprehend how this type of quality show could be free of charge.
Wow.
I know. It's like, I know. People are like, you got to be kidding.
Well,
this
it's
is
all,
free?
It's all because of our sponsors, which we're going to do right now.
That's
Of
right.
course.
But like, it's an amazing deal. You just clip on that little button there, and you get this quality entertainment free of charge.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah. Thank you to the sponsors. Let's go. Ready?
Yes.
Attorney Alfredo Estrada at Burke, Costanza, and Carberry. With locations in Maryville and Chicago, Alfredo is one of the most experienced lawyers in the areas of immigration and civil litigation. He is also available at the Hammond Legal Aid Clinic to help with DACA and immigration-related issues. Call Alfredo at 219-769-1313. Adelante con Alfredo.
The Ron Prestomer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond, serving all of your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance products and services, including business insurance and much more. The Prestomer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses all around Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie at 219-844-0103.
Citizens for Mike Andrade. That was a great show, by the way. It was great, and
A lot of fun, and the tequila was unbelievable.
the tequila was unbelievable.
Even at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm speaking past tense because that sucker's gone.
Gone.
No, I'm just kidding. That'd be incredible,
That's
wouldn't
a
it? You're
heck of a
like,
week.
My mayor's got issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Citizens for Mike Andrade. Mike Andrade is running to be your next state representative for District 12, which covers South Hammond, all of Munster, and Highland, as well as parts of Griffith. Mike Andrade is a Munster resident. He's a family man and a small business owner who understands now more than ever that Americans need good leadership who will put people over politics. Mike Andrade will strongly support our teachers, our unions, and our working families, first responders, as well as small business owners. Early voting has begun, so we humbly ask for you to cast your vote for Mike Andrade for your next state representative for District 12. Learn more and connect with Mike Andrade on Facebook or at andrade2020.com. That's ANDRADE 2020.com. This message was paid for by Citizens for Mike Andrade.
Great guy, and early voting has begun.
Yes, sir.
Bob's Plastering and Painting provides professional, affordable, and reliable plastering and painting services with over 30 years of experience. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today to schedule a free estimate at 219-616-6609. That's 219-616-6609. Check out before and after pictures at bobsplasteringandpainting.com. I owe Bob a call back. Thanks for the estimate, Bob.
I got show and tell today before we get to Phil's Lock of the Week.
Wish I was cool enough to have a bobblehead.
That's right. Can you pull in on that, John?
Yes.
Where should I put it? Like right
I
there?
think, does that look like Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
Is that-
It looks like me. I'll do like side-by-side
Maybe
comparison.
I think a better version of you.
See, and
I
it's got the boxing gloves. Like
And you had a
the
red
logo.
tie on yesterday. It's like you
Look at
yesterday.
it. See? Looks like me.
The boxing gloves has
I
his
have
name on
my
it.
staff gave this to me.
Thank
a
you
while
to Chris
ago.
Cantar
It
for
does look
finding
like-
how to get that done.
Yeah, she sent off to China, and they sent back, which was very nice. But you
There he is.
can't do stuff like this in America anymore.
I was flicking the head of the bobblehead to get it moving. There you go.
I wish it moved a little bit more, but hey, it was made in China. What do you
Boxing
expect?
gloves
So,
are cool. USA.
right.
Very cool.
It's pretty generic looking, actually. I mean, it looks a little bit like me, but I think Chinese thinks us white people look all the same.
They just have the same head, they just different color hair.
Yeah, they're just
maybe.
like, whatever.
Blue eyes,
dark hair, whatever. They all look the same.
There he
to
goes.
me.
Let's put it up.
All right, let's go. We'll put this over by Kevin. Keep an eye on him.
Oh, thanks.
I'll put it by Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Phil Taylor on waiting on online.
Let's have Phil
right.
come on. This is going to be
bring him
Let's
exciting.
merge Phil in.
Phil, good morning.
Hey, Phil.
Good morning, Mayor Tom. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm
Good morning,
good.
Phil.
How'd you do last night in the Bears game?
I actually didn't touch that game. I kind of learned a hard lesson going against the Bears when I took the Falcons a couple weeks ago, so I stayed off of that game.
Phil, we want to have you on here because you're going to do your lock of the week. But first, before we do that, what I'd like to do, because I know you've been so successful as a gambler, ask what is the current balance in your betting account?
You know, before I give you that balance, I just want to bring up that, I listened to the podcast, your last podcast.
Thanks, Phil.
And, you call this podcast Left of Center. I'm going to say it's right of center because you're doing exactly what a lot of Republicans do, which is give a lot of misinformation.
A lot of fake news.
Really?
Well,
Fake news.
Like-
That's what's going on here. I had one lock that didn't come through. The three before that.
It came
you guys
through
don't
for Kevin
pick
and
up
I.
at all.
Your lock,
what I
I
mean?
betted against it right off the bat.
we won.
Yeah, it was great. That's where we got the idea for this segment, Phil.
And then your second lock was the Rams minus 13.5. Your third lock was the 49ers over the Eagles.
And then this segment was born, Phil, because we were like, this guy's wrong every damn week.
We got to have him on.
So, we call it Phil's Lock of the Week, but you can't see we're doing air quotes around lock.
Did you see what Phil just did? I asked him the balance on his account.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like Mike Pence, he just didn't answer the question and started talking about some other things.
How do you respond to that?
Phil,
Taylor?
what's the balance?
Okay, there's only $4 in the account right now. Dude, listen, you're giving a lot of fake news right now, and the reason the balance is low is because I put almost everything I have onto my lock for this week, which is a surefire,
Here we go.
no chance of losing.
It better not be whoever's playing the Jets.
Oh,
by the
hey,
way.
Kevin, Phil just texted me.
Oh, he did.
It says, hey, guys, Kelly's listening to the show. Stop asking questions
About
about
the
my balance. Oh, my bad, Phil. My bad. We will not ask about your balance anymore.
All right, Phil, we're ready. Lock of the week. Here we go. I wish we had some a drum roll. John,
We got to get.
We do.
We got to get
Sound
something.
effects.
So, Phil, tell us what your lock of the week is this week.
Air quotes by the mayor.
Take a second mortgage on your house, sell your lawnmower, sell your silverware, get as much money together as you can,
Write
and
this
put it
down.
on the Buffalo Bills this week
Wow.
against the Tennessee Titans.
If they play. Phil, what if they don't play? Because there's so much are you picking that game because it might
better.
get canceled?
Because so
They're
They've
gonna
already
play
moved
on
it to
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
so the
They're
Titans.
going to play on Tuesday. It's going to happen. We have two different quality teams here, even though the records are similar. Josh Allen, by the way, is being talked about as an MVP candidate in the NFL. He's been unbelievable this year as the QB of Buffalo.
Phil,
So,
just to be clear, are you saying money line or the spread?
I would play the spread just to be safe because I'm not 100% where it's at as of right now.
So
Because
what's
I have
the
a
spread?
feeling
What
a
is
lot
the
of
spread,
big
Phil?
gamblers are going to be on Buffalo.
What's the spread, Phil?
Last I checked it, I think it was even. I don't
guy's
think
all
there was
over
any
it.
number
Even?
going
He's all
away.
over it. John, he's all over it, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't see it.
It
on my
could be
app.
off still because the game's not till next week.
It's on Tuesday. They're going to play Tuesday night.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
So your thinking on this, Phil, is obviously the Bills are hot and the Titans are all infected with COVID. So you're thinking
there is no line on that game yet, by the way.
the lock of the
I
week
think
with no
you
line.
have to take that in consideration.
I don't
right?
know if
You have
Phil
to take
understands
it
what
in
lock of the week
This
is.
is
Like we
going-
have to actually
Dude.
be able to bet on
This
it.
segment's going
This segment was
Swimmingly.
born today and it
die
died
today all in one, all in 5 minutes. All right, Phil. So take the spread that doesn't exist yet on the Bills,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
He said, "Take
You know,
out
a
a
lot of
second."
people pay me big money to give them this type of information. So
By the way,
you're welcome.
Phil's got great bona fides to be able to give you advice. He does. He is a damn good gambler. I'm pointing out that when Phil played it was a World Series of Poker event in Horseshoe Casino. He made it to.
He is the only person I know personally. He's the only person I know personally that's ranked as a poker player.
Right,
There's
Phil?
probably more. I bet Mike Jositis is or somebody else. But there's
Ranked might be, more fake news, but I did play in the World Series of Poker. I only played once, and I won once. So I guess,
Wow.
How much did you win?
100%.
$4. He put that in his. He put that in his bank. He put that in his betting account.
What's that, Phil?
9.
I won $9,000.
Get the hell
And
out
now
of
it's
here.
down to 4.
That's awesome, man. I remember when you were doing that. It was exciting watching Phil because when he was doing that, you were kicking butt. You made what, the final like
You get props. Phil,
50
for
or
that.
something, Phil? I mean, it was
I finished 40th.
All right, so here's what I would say, though. is
40th.
It doesn't
I mean, that's
necessarily
good.
translate into football betting.
no, obviously.
I mean, it's like, oh, I'm a good poker player, so I'm a good football bettor. No.
I've
Doesn't
I've
happen.
been
When
at
you guys
many
are
craps
calling me,
tables with
begging me
Phil.
for my pick next week because this one's going to go so
When
well.
people are telling
You know,
us
I
to
may or
shut
may
up
not
so we can
answer
have
my
Phil
phone.
on.
Yeah.
Phil, have a good one. Thanks for calling in.
Phil's
All right,
over.
guys.
So again, one
All
more
right.
time, Phil. Phil's lock of the week is bet the house on the Bills over the
Spread.
Titans.
Spread.
Everything you have.
Everything you have, and trust Phil. And
All
by
right.
the way, if you lose this bet and you lose your house and you get divorced, Phil does have extra room at his place, which is nice. So
And he's got $4.
Yeah,
All right.
the basement's all ready for you. And Kevin's an attorney. He can handle your divorce proceedings.
No, I-
All good.
I would go to Steve.
I haven't done family. We don't do family law here. No.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, Phil.
no.
So I'll see you next week, and we will ridicule you appropriately if you lose this one. Okay, Phil?
I'm ready for it.
So I'll talk to you on Tuesday then, right?
No, because
Yep.
the game won't happen yet. See, this is the problem.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
this
Friday,
isn't the lock of the week.
well,
This is the lock of next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Way to go, Phil.
Who's your
Every
lock
Friday.
Sunday?
It's a Friday segment.
Yeah, but there's
It's a Friday
Game
segment.
Sunday.
We're not doing it every day. We're
Yeah.
not doing it every time. It's
Oh,
a
yeah?
Friday
who's
segment.
your lock
Friday
this
segment.
Sunday, Phil?
Yeah, Phil.
There's like 10 games.
This Sunday, there's a lot of tough games out there. I don't know which games got moved. I know they're still talking about moving games. If I had to pick a game, I'm not calling it my lock. I think the Colts are going to beat the Browns.
I like it.
Wow, Marcus
They're,
Taylor says his
1
lock
point
is the
favorite.
Browns.
I like that, Phil.
All right. Well, there you go. I trust
So we're gonna-
Marcus.
I do too.
I'm with Marcus on the Browns.
I like Phil's bet. I think Colts over the Browns also.
Okay. Spread, Phil, or money line?
That one's the Colts are only
1
minus
point.
one.
Yep,
so
minus one.
either way.
All
you're
right.
fine.
There you
All
go.
right, Phil. Thanks for the
All
locks,
right.
buddy. Nice
See ya.
talking to you.
Have a good
Guys.
one.
See
All
ya.
right, see you.
All right. Lock of the week.
Yes.
Take it to the bank, folks.
Lock of next week.
Take it to the bank. Phil said, bet the house.
I can't wait to see what the spread is since he said bet the spread and it doesn't exist.
It's all right.
Great.
Phil's lock of the week. Hey, did you watch the debate the other day?
I did part of it, and then I literally fell asleep
Okay.
on the couch.
Did you miss the fly?
I did miss the fly.
John?
I saw the fly.
I thought it got stuck
John,
on
did
there.
you see it like live and you're like, oh my God,
Yes.
he's got a fly in his
Yes.
Dude.
Wow. It was
Yes.
that like
I thought everybody thought it was on their TV. I thought it was on my TV at first. I'm like, that's on Pence's head.
were you like, here go the gifts?
I literally thought, what is life? I mean, the weirdest stuff is happening,
It is.
man.
It's
That was
strange.
so funny.
A fly. What
By the
is
way,
going
How
on?
does that even happen?
What is
So-
going on?
So
and
I
why does he
posted-
stay there?
So I posted because he was stuck, dude. That's a lot of hairspray up there.
I
The fly's
agree.
like,
Pence is heavy on the spray, man.
You think it could have been the hairspray?
oh, dude, it was stuck.
Wow.
It was hopelessly stuck.
Wow, like a web, like in a spider web.
Oh God! And Pence's hair is so white. It stuck out. So it was like a turd
That's
in a punch
crazy.
bowl.
I still haven't seen even video of it.
Oh my God! I posted it right away onto Facebook. I think I was one of the first out and got lots of laughs. And then of course I got the obligatory "You're an asshole, Mayor Tom," and
I think
you
I
should
posted
resign.
that.
Oh, did you?
No.
One lady told me I don't deserve to be mayor and I should resign my office. I'm like, Jesus! Like nobody can have a
That's-
damn sense of
That's
humor.
coming down hard.
Exactly.
Listen, if a damn fly
That
flies
lady
on,
needs to get a sense of humor.
if a fly lands on my face during a nationally televised event, I will make fun of myself. I
think
promise
you would.
I would totally make fun. I'd be like, "Oh, got stuck in the gel," and America would laugh like crazy.
Yeah,
right?
they would.
Let's have a goddamn sense of humor out there, for
Yeah,
God's
I think-
sakes.
Isn't that the perfect example of 2020, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
I
post a
should
picture of
resign.
a fly. Yeah.
and someone goes
That's where we're
insane
at.
on you.
There was this lady last night. She posted on there, "I'm really disappointed in you, Mayor. This is really over the top." I said something like, "You know what flies are attracted to, right?" Okay.
Sure.
But still, so she starts off, and then like 7 hours later, she posts again, "You are a disgrace to the office." And I'm like, this lady is walking around pissed off all day
All
long
day.
because I post a
Well,
picture.
The upside for her though is she was able to get that anger out
I
at
defriended
the
her.
end of the.
Dude, I defriended her.
Here
I'm
we
not
go.
having that crap. I'm not having that
Censorship.
crap. I did. No, not censorship. It's my personal page. My mom visits that page. I don't need to be getting lectured by a lady for like all day long. This lady had nothing going
You
yesterday.
lost a vote, man.
This is like, I don't know if she in the region. She does live in the region. But literally, this lady walked around pissed off all day long. She posted 7 hours later and she was still on fire.
Wow.
Like, God damn, get a grip, lady.
Wow.
For God's sakes, a fly flew on his head during a national televised debate. That is freaking gold.
I haven't seen that in a while.
That is
Ever.
gold. You got to jump
Since
on that.
2016, Hillary.
She had a fly?
Yes.
Yes.
By the
Wow,
way,
the flies changed parties. The flies changed parties.
Well, the
But
flies tell us
they do.
who's going to lose.
Oh.
Hillary lost.
Uh-oh.
Fly landed on her.
That's
Let's
right.
see what happens.
What's going to happen?
I'll tell
By
you,
the way-
early voting,
Yeah.
I've never... what I would say is this. Think about how different it feels in 2016. It
Right.
feels a
No,
lot
yeah.
different.
It feels like
Just
208.
like the vote. Right. It feels more like 2008 than it does
There's only
2016
two
for
elections
sure.
I remember being like this. 2008, which was a huge election, obviously, and then this one's going to be huge also because
it's crazy.
America
the
is sick and tired of the BS that's going on. And I'm not just going to make this about Trump. It is mostly about Trump in my mind, but like America's sick and tired of it. And you're going to see, I don't think this election is going to be even close. Everybody's like, oh, we're not going to know on election night. I call bullshit on
In
that.
a way, I hope it's not, because I think that will temper a lot of the, I'm not going to, this isn't official till, I'm going to file court cases. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Kevin, we'll know
I hope
that
it's
night.
not. I hope so.
When we
Because
go
I
to
think
bed-
that's going to be good for America.
When we go to bed, we're going to know.
I hope we know
And you're
that
going to
night.
see states that Trump won in 2016 going to the
I just
Democrats.
struggle to see where his
in my
pickup
opinion.
is. I don't know where the pickup is. I mean,
Well,
he's
my
got to
dad
hold.
said, my
He's gotta
dad said
hold everything.
Minnesota.
I know.
He's going to hold Minnesota.
John, we're playing that. We're playing that.
What's the spread here?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. What is the spread? But I think early voting, don't forget, you can go anywhere in Lake County, 11 sites. You can go, the lines have been really long, I know, at certain places. On Russell Street in Hammond, it's only been 10 minutes, so show up.
Yeah. Did you watch that Bears game last night?
I did. I watched the first quarter, I think, with you, first quarter and a half. And
We were frustrated in the first quarter.
yeah,
But
13
Foles
nothing.
Foles got it together. I mean, he's not great. Like, he cannot run and throw
A lot
accurately.
A lot of those. I love that like kind of wheel touch pass he had to Montgomery a couple
Yeah, that was
times.
a nice one. Little
Did him on
drop
the
in.
first half to the right side,
Yeah.
second half on that last
Yeah,
drive.
he does a little drop pass.
Really
pretty well.
good. Yeah, he does.
And but he's not a great quarterback.
And not really
But he's
good
better
pass
than Mitt.
protection last night.
No.
he was under. He was
getting
under
beat
some
up.
pressure.
By the way, Tom Brady was getting beat up last night too.
He was pissed.
Dude, he was getting beat up.
His line wasn't holding him either, and dumb penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
The
not used to
headbutt.
that.
But it's not the Patriots. He's
Yeah,
But Tom
for
Brady's, I still think he's great.
He's a stud.
Hey, but what happened at the end there?
What do
He
you
thought
mean?
it was fourth down.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Game
That
was
was-
over.
That
What
is
that?
horrible. By the
Well,
way, that
that
is-
was bad.
That's
so
the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yes.
I was listening to some post game, and they were like, "Okay, look, you got three things going on. One, you got the offensive coordinator has a microphone in Tom Brady's ear. He could have been saying third down. You got the head coach, and then of course Tom Brady's always supposed to look over and see what the marker says. So you got three different reasons as to why he could have missed it, but it's a bad miss for sure, right? I mean, you got
Well,
a
it
guy
makes
like
him
that.
look like crap.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Because he played. I mean, he went downfield on fourth down.
Yeah, he only
And
needed 5
instead,
yards.
if you think it's third down, if you're thinking it's third down, it's easy to go downfield, and then you still got a short play.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
he's been dumping. He used Brate and Gronkowski well, both his tight ends. I thought he'd just dump it to the tight end.
I got my flu shot yesterday.
How'd that go?
It hurts today. You ever? I mean, John, did you get one?
No.
I have not
I've
gotten
never
one yet
gotten one.
either.
Do you guys get received them?
I
Before,
do
right?
No.
occasionally. I'm going to this year.
It's like a little they pumped like a little apple in my arm. It like hurts a little bit, but like I'm sort of a wimp about stuff like that. But I don't like needles. I did a video of it and I was petrified.
Really?
And then they did it and I was like, I'm
That's
done.
it?
Yeah, it was really easy.
No cry, no tears.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was before
One tear.
and then I realized tears of joy when I got done.
Well, I mean, they say get it this year, right? I mean, John, what's your?
Because I care about my seniors.
Are
I
you
care about-
anti-flu shot?
I'm
or
not
just,
anti. I've just never gotten
Never
one.
got
I never really get flu shots either, but I figure if there's a year to get a damn flu shot, this
I
is the
agree.
one.
I
Right.
agree, and I'm going to get one too.
People
Yeah.
are talking about your muscles in that video.
I'm pretty jacked. I agree.
They're-
I mean,
Wow.
they're saying it's hard to comprehend.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
I
like,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I know.
Oh boy.
It's like without steroids too. It's crazy. I
Sleeve
know.
rolled up, the cigarette carton in the sleeve. No,
I did not have a cigarette carton, but
No roid rage.
No
by
roid
the mayor, by the mayor today.
I'm going mountain biking again today. I went the other day.
It
First
is a
time
good
in a
week.
month.
It's a good
And
week to
my
go.
workout that I normally do killed me. I was like, how do I do this all the time? But I missed it for a month, and you just lose a lot. Yeah. So anyway, had that going for me.
Well, Mayor, where are we? Let's see. We still got. You know what? One of the other things I wanted to bring up was. Oh, by the way, did you see this on the? They kept pumping this up. AC/DC has a new album.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
was like, wait a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
They were
I
pumping
thought
it up
the
on
lead
the.
singer had like Alzheimer's or something.
I thought
like that.
he did too, or dementia, or the guitar, or one of the
Yeah.
lead guitar.
Ah!
Like not
That guy.
Angus Young, but
No,
his
the
brother.
Brian Johnson, I want to say. Is that his name? Or
Did he die?
He's the leader of the EU. Never mind. That's Boris Johnson.
No, he's the leader of the
He is the leader of the
of
EU.
Brexit. No, he's the leader of
And the lead
Prime
singer
Minister
for
of England.
AC/DC.
Yes.
Yeah,
Prime Minister of the
Not the
United
leader.
Kingdom.
He is the Prime Minister of England and the
He's
new lead singer.
anti-EU.
He is.
Oh,
The
that
new
was
lead
good.
singer of AC/DC. Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know.
By
It
the
was-
way,
yeah,
were you at the soccer match the other day? It was what?
I missed the sectional where there was the brawl.
Did you see that, John?
No.
There was a high
Bishop
school
Knoll,
brawl.
Lake Central soccer brawl
Oh my
Bishop-
God.
Tuesday.
Yeah. And then so like
And they canceled the Munster game for some reason on Wednesday. even
so
though it had
because
nothing
they
to do with
probably
them.
don't know. I mean,
Munster's playing Lowell, and they canceled that game.
but like I think it's because they're going to hammer one of those teams or both. Right?
Well, Lake
Well,
Central,
who won?
Lake Central won 4-3, and
So,
Lake
like-
Central played last night and won in overtime over Morton.
So nobody got suspended.
I think 3 kids.
But it's a bunch of BS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you guys will remember, rewind our minds a few years ago to when it was a basketball game. It wasn't soccer, so it was a game. Hammond High School was at Griffith, and the two teams got into a fight, and they were shamed. I mean, for article after article in both newspapers. The radio wouldn't let up. It was a statewide story, and then the state stepped in and
Came down hard.
like disqualified both their seasons, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I don't remember if it was that harsh.
And then I think they ended up letting Griffith back in. Like Hammond High was out, but then they ended up letting Griffith back in.
I don't remember the end
Remember,
result
and then
of it,
Griffith
but-
was driving down and they got into a car wreck.
Yeah,
and,
terrible. The bus
but
crashed.
like, how is it? So like, if you have a basketball fight, both teams get shamed. Both teams, get daily newspaper articles. Both teams get daily radio ads. But if it's a soccer fight, nobody even talks about it, right?
It was interesting. I mean, I think
It was a brawl on the front page of the paper.
there were punches thrown.
I know. It doesn't make a lot of
On the
sense
pitch.
to me. I
On
mean,
the
I guess,
pitch.
the moral of the story is if you're going to fight in sports, make sure it's a soccer match because you can fight in soccer and nobody will talk about it. But these poor basketball players that get into a fight, you get your season suspended, you get ridiculed in the newspaper.
It was like a viral story, even on the internet. I mean, in the Griffith Hammond High were the fans involved though too? Did the fans get involved?
Yeah.
See, maybe
They
that,
were.
I don't know if that matters, but
But you know what? It makes you sort of scratch your head because usually people that attend a basketball game and people that play in a basketball game is a whole different demographic group than people that attend and play in soccer games. And it makes you wonder if I'm going to be harder on a basketball fight, but if it's a soccer fight, these just boys are just.
maybe they were just faking it. Everyone accuses soccer players of faking it.
Yeah,
So
I was
maybe that
gonna
was
say.
just a fake fight.
Yeah. That's your sport, man.
I love soccer. Yeah, I love soccer. So
FIFA 21 coming out soon.
yeah, absolutely. And I think Munster versus LC in the final Saturday night at 7. So yeah, I agree, Mary. It's interesting though. It's a great, interesting. I think you said basketball versus soccer.
But it's weird how the media picks and chooses which stories they're gonna blow up. Hi, Councilman, come on in. We'll get to you in a couple seconds.
Beautiful.
But like another example of how the media picks and chooses winners and losers. Like in this case, I would be glad I'm a soccer player, not a basketball player, because if you're a basketball player, you get lit up if you get invites, and if you're a soccer player, nobody pays attention. Or just like if you're Jeff Langman, who was in charge of the Lake County Solid Waste District.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
He went out with his taxpayer-funded credit card and bought a purse.
As a going away gift.
As a going-away gift, it was like a
For a staff
$400
member.
purse, and he got ridiculed and fired and probably received about 30 or 40 newspaper articles over a $400
There were
purse.
a lot.
So we come up with...
By the way, the purse was approved by the board.
So we come up with proof that the head of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau spends $110,000 a year on his credit
Is
card.
that all?
Takes people out to Ruth's
Just
Chris
110?
regularly, and the guy, you can't even get a second newspaper article on it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I guess the moral of the story is, I would wine and dine and do everything I can to make these editors and these publishers happy at the Times, and it's sort of like an insurance policy. If they like you, you could get caught spending $110,000, $36,000 at Ruth's Chris, and nobody will say anything because you're buddies, right?
Well, maybe the stories aren't over yet. We're just waiting for
had-
the next story and the next editorial
Well, hopefully,
and the
you're
next
right.
board meeting.
Yeah, hopefully. I got to start going. Hey, Councilman, how you
How
doing?
are you doing? Good morning.
Nice to see
Good
you.
morning,
Good to see
Councilman.
you.
Nice to
Yeah.
see you. Thanks for
Here.
coming in.
Absolutely.
It's good
Absolutely.
to have you on Left to Center.
Well, I mean, podcasts are the future. Really, this is
it.
the present.
I
It's the
know.
best way to get your message
I
out.
love it. It seems like we jumped into the podcast, and we were probably a little slow to the game, but it seems like a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, are starting to do this.
It's great.
I appreciate it.
great.
It's a nice studio, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're
High
sorry
tech.
We're glad
sorry we
you're
had to
here.
blindfold you and confuse you to lead
Sneak
you
you in.
We don't want people to know where this is, but so tell us about yourself, Councilman.
So, William Godwin, I am a lawyer by training.
Indiana?
Practice a little law. Illinois.
Nice.
So Georgetown, University of Chicago.
That's
huh?
right. That's right. And I'm a real estate broker in Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan.
Nice.
So I own a
Commercial,
small,
residential?
both,
Yeah.
mostly residential.
Do you know my brothers? Latitude?
I don't think I do.
You should get to know them. They're
Okay.
commercial. They're commercial, but
Okay.
good guys. I'll
Those
introduce
are the
you
big guys.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Aaron started off, and he was focused right off the bat. He wanted to be in commercial real estate, and he got some designation that's real hard to get, and it's great. I'll introduce you guys. You'd like them.
Absolutely, that'd be
like
great.
You. Yeah,
That would be great.
good dude. So you went to where were you born and raised?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Grew up in Jackson, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Where's Jackson? So I
It's,
know where
uh,
Knoxville is.
Between Memphis and Nashville.
Isn't that
There
the
you go.
song?
So
Going to Jackson in the Johnny Cash song?
There's a song going to
it
Jackson.
might be Tennessee or maybe Mississippi, but maybe it's Tennessee.
I think it is Jackson. It is Jackson.
How big's Jackson, Tennessee?
It's about 40 to 60,000.
so
people.
middle.
Yeah,
road
it's
town.
growing. It's a college
So
town.
it's
Yep.
What college?
Union University, Lane College,
Oh, wow.
University of Memphis at Lambeth. There's a business college there, a community college. So,
when I was in law school at Notre
Yeah.
Dame, I went on a road trip to see Notre Dame versus Tennessee, University of Tennessee.
so we both have that Catholic education.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
I'm,
right.
I'm with the
Georgetown.
Jesuits.
You're
so-
the
That's right.
Jesuits, so that's right. That's the difference.
So you get out of high school and you go right to Georgetown?
I did. Yeah, I
Wow.
love politics,
That's
government.
amazing.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was
So
perfect.
did you always know you were going to get into? I mean, because like a lot of people study politics, but they don't actually get into
Right.
it. You've actually implemented it.
I liked it, and I knew I wanted to do it, and so the internships in D.C. were attractive. I interned on both sides.
I saw
Yeah.
I
that.
worked
Jesse
with
Jackson.
Jesse Jackson, and Bill Frist.
That's
Amazing.
crazy.
So I was
Good for
part
you,
of the
man.
United States Senate Youth Program, which gave me the introduction to Bill Frist. He was my senator, not a political thing,
Yeah.
and was able to intern.
Is he a good guy?
He is a good guy.
Is
He's
he
a
still
good
in?
guy. No,
No?
he retired.
Yeah.
So, but I spent my first semester in college.
So was he in
interning
there
in office.
when Al Gore was? Was it Al Gore and Bill Frist? Or
No, this was 2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What was it
Bush
like
years.
being an intern in the Senate? Would they talk to you, or would they
It's
just walk by
fascinating.
you? Yeah.
It's fascinating because the Senate offices are so large. They have so much staff.
They do.
And you really you have specialists in all these areas, and people come and you visit, you write letters of recommendation, you sign the senator's name. There's
So-
so much volume.
How many people work, like for a new senator, how many staffers would a new senator have? Because I know when you're like Mervan, when he goes over to
Right.
U.S. House, he's going to be like starting from scratch.
Maybe like
with-
3 or 4 people.
Right.
So in the Senate, I want to say it was about 10 almost.
Right.
But he was majority leader at the time. So
Oh,
there was a
wow.
whole other majority leader office
Absolutely.
staff. So
Right.
he had a huge.
Wow.
But it was really cool to see, even though I didn't share their politics, it was cool to see how they strategized and planned
Mm-hmm.
around legislation and pulling things together. I was there during the time, I think it's when, it was not Bob Dole, it was Trent Lott.
Mm-hmm.
I think it made certain statements, and that's what led to Bill Frist becoming majority leader.
You
And
got
so
Lott
it was
out
kind
and
of-
put Frist in.
Trent Lott
Yeah.
spoke at Hammond City Hall, right? Remember? Wasn't that him?
No, I don't think so. Trent Lott was a Republican from Alabama.
He's from Mississippi.
Mississippi, okay.
He was Republican?
Yeah,
No,
Republican
it was
from
not him.
Mississippi. No,
Yeah, my
no,
bad.
no.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Who's the guy that came to? There was a.
you're thinking of Rich Gephardt, who
Yeah,
was
Gephardt.
Speaker
Oh,
of the
yeah.
House
There
from
you go.
Missouri.
Yeah, from Missouri.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dick Gephardt.
Really good guy.
was
So
his
your
name.
undergrad at Georgetown was in.
Georgetown, I did sociology, and I took a lot of government and theology. I spent a year at the London School of Economics, where I did government, sociology, history.
That had
It was
to
a
be fun.
blast.
Yeah,
I was there
London.
the whole year.
Yeah, that had to be great.
And,
Talk
it
about
was-
getting some soccer in.
Absolutely. I
Right?
didn't play much soccer, but I did lose weight because the quality of the food is a lot better there, and you walk a lot more.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You walk a whole
Yeah.
lot more, and it's so international. I mean, I met people who were black, but they were from Africa, the Caribbean, the United States, and it's just amazing.
How old were you then?
I was
18,
19,
20?
20. I turned 21 in London.
What a
Yeah.
great experience.
Going to
it
the
was
pubs?
fascinating. We did.
Right.
You have to go to the pub.
You only have to be 18 there, right?
I don't know. I don't think it's 21 in London, is it?
I don't recall.
Well, you were there. Yeah, you don't have to. No comment.
No comment.
Hey, Mayor, let's do some quick sponsors and come
Sure.
back and get
And then
more
we'll-
with William. And
love that.
we want to talk local. We want to talk his whole story. I want to hear all about why he ended up in Gary.
And then we got some great issues going on in the city of Gary right now. I want to pick your brain on if that's all right,
Okay.
Councilman. You're the council president now, right?
I am acting.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
El
In
Presidente.
fact,
Yeah.
a real good friend of Kevin and mine, both Mike Brown. There was a great article about him in the paper. I was hoping to pick your brain about that as well.
Yes. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Okay, well, let's go. Your Lake County Auditor, John Patalis, wants you to know that Lake County Auditor's Office strives to serve the residents and taxpayers of Lake County in multiple ways, including maintaining a working relationship with all Lake County taxing entities and to promote public service. John Patalis is your Lake County Auditor.
We just talked about these guys. Latitude Commercial Real Estate is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage and property management firm specializing in northern Indiana and the Chicago suburbs. When you select Latitude Commercial, you get Chicagoland expertise with worldwide marketing and networking ability. Whether you are a developer looking to sell, a tenant looking to expand, an investor looking to purchase, or an owner in need of property management services, Latitude can help. Contact Latitude at 219-864-0200. That's 864-0200, or on the internet at latitudeco.com, latitudeco.com.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon. Thank you to the Martinez family and all the employees at Tortillas Nuevo Leon for sponsoring the show. They have been the Midwest's tortilla brand since 1975 and make flour and corn tortillas as well as delicious nacho chips that you can find in your local Chicagoland grocery store with their familiar red and white logo. Visit their website at tortillasnuevoleon.com for more information.
Adrian Santos, the longtime East Chicago City Clerk, is asking for your support. Clerk Santos has years of service to his community and is an elected official that is trustworthy and effective. He's been a loyal public servant for nearly 17 years and asks that you consider supporting him in the future. Paid for by the committee to elect Adrian Santos. All right, those are our sponsors.
So
It's a good group.
Yeah, it is. It's a really
Councilman.
good group.
Yeah.
So, Councilman, you get done studying in London School of Economics, you get done with Georgetown, and then you go to University of Chicago.
I had an internship after my sophomore year with the American Bar Foundation, which is all about socio-legal research, but I have a lot of family in Chicago. And they took me all over the place.
That's great.
I went to Rainbow Push. I
And you're
went to
like,
all the great restaurants.
I like Chicago.
I like Chicago. So I came back the next year for a research program at UFC and then got into the law school, thankfully. And it was a blast. I mean, first year of law school is always kind of crazy, right?
Absolutely.
You question yourself, certainly first semester.
A lot of work.
Very
Lot of
different
work.
way of thinking.
A lot of smart people.
Exactly.
You know
But-
Steve Cersei,
yeah.
Kevin's law partner?
Yeah,
He went to undergrad.
No, Steve went to undergrad at UFC. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the part where fun comes to die, right?
Fun comes to
It's a
die.
different ballgame. undergrad
And in your
folks.
swim class, that's it. Right.
Yeah.
And you had the misfortune to meet Richard Leverett
I
there.
did. So
So that's how you guys became
He's
friends?
responsible for this. I mean,
Right.
so he invited some students to come out and campaign for Obama in 2008, spring of 2008.
So he's already graduated and you're a
No,
student?
we were classmates.
Okay.
And so he's just a little older than me.
Mm-hmm.
But so I didn't come out, but people were talking about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this is Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the lakefront and there's deer and all this stuff. So I just decided to be nosy one day and drove out, checked it out.
You're talking Miller.
Yeah.
Which is your district,
Yeah,
right?
it is. I liked it and I moved. And so.
Right then?
And a few
Right
months,
after law
months
school?
later. During law school.
During law school.
So,
So you commuted from
enjoyed it.
Gary.
I did.
First off, you were a
Yeah.
homeowner during
Yeah,
law school?
yeah.
That's pretty
Right.
By
impressive.
the way,
Right.
easy commute, right? And Toll
It's
Road
not
to
bad.
Hyde Park.
Not bad to
Get
get
right
to the
there.
south side.
Yeah.
So I, really enjoy the community and the people.
Miller's great.
And have come to know a lot of folks, and we're growing. I mean,
I was, and I know yesterday I was on LTH and you called in. I
Right.
appreciate it. It was nice talking to you. I was talking about on LTH how I'm jealous as the mayor when I go to Miller and it's such a vibrant food scene and
Lake Street's looking good.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish we could take a slice of that and take it to Hammond. I mean, not that I would want to take it. In fact, I should watch my language. When it comes to 18th Street, they sort of did that, but we weren't. But
unfortunately.
But 18th Street's
Fortunately,
great also, and I
yeah.
know they're still got
Yeah.
a heavy
Yeah.
presence in Gary. We
Why
had Drew
not?
on the show.
Absolutely.
A couple weeks ago.
Good.
Yeah,
He's doing amazing.
Yeah, he is. And William, you, I was checking out on the website. By the way, great website, Godwin for Gary, Godwin number 4
Probably need to update
Gary.com.
it.
John, I don't know if you can. That's all right. But I
Godwin
noticed
for Gary.
Godwin, the number 4 Gary. John can probably put a little bit of that up on the screen. But I noticed that you have your real estate agent. Your real estate agency is right downtown on Lake Street. It looks
is.
cool. And one of the things I didn't know about you, art aficionado.
I love art.
And a
Really?
Yeah, I love
real
art. Yeah.
I guess a great collection in there.
Yeah, original art. I
Really?
it's
In your house?
right- yeah, house, office. After 2011, I sort of got into it.
Look at you.
And some friends who are artists, and you start going to the studios and visiting and seeing how it's so important to support local artists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it makes a thriving community, and that's one of the reasons I really gravitate toward what's happening on Lake Street,
Mm-hmm.
because the Miller Beach Arts and Creative District has been instrumental in helping to
So if you were
transform
telling
the street.
somebody locally,
Yeah.
somebody from the region, like, here's a great place to find local art, what would you say? Where to go? Where to look? Where to look
William,
for?
I went
Well-
when I was campaigning. I went to a place in Miller. It was an art studio.
Okay.
And they had an event there. What's that?
It could be a couple of them. So there's
It's right
paint-
across from Miller Bakery, basically.
Okay, that's the Gardner Center.
Yeah.
So that's the standard, right?
That
I
is
mean,
nice,
they
man.
do monthly shows.
It is
COVID
nice.
kind
They
of
had
messed it up, but
and they had dancers that day. and
Oh,
it was
yeah,
beautiful.
It's I mean, there's great shows that happen from university students to local artists, regional artists. So about every month, there's a new exhibit that opens, and it's been a great way to bring community together, get people on the street, get them, shopping and talking and all of that.
Miller's
So
always had a good vibe. It just seems like probably last couple of years, last 2-3 years, it's really picked up again.
it has. It
which
has.
is which is
I
great.
honestly think, when we start getting the TOD, and obviously the double track is super important to that neighborhood. And then, once we get the new South Shore line running with the TOD and all that, I really think Miller's got a great future. And, I think that part of Gary is definitely, I'm very bullish on, to speak stock market terms.
Well, you know, the greatest number of folks who are buying real estate now are millennials.
Yep.
And for millennials, being close to public transit is so important. So the ability to hop on the South Shore line at the Miller Station, and well, I guess when we start going back to offices again, to be able to be in downtown Chicago where a lot of our residents work, you know, is a big advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly the stuff we learned from Jeff Speck for downtown Hammond. And what we're trying to do is get residents down there, get some, you know, new development. And when the downtown station opens, it's going to be big.
And making the streets more walkable, which in Millard they do. They have bike trails on the street. And we're doing a project right now on Holman and Hammond, which is basically when you drive through Munster, it's very controlled. It's one lane. And then as soon as you get to Hammond, it turns into a speedway. And I mean, the average speed goes from like 35 to 50.
Right.
And we're slowing everything down, so we're actually squeezing Holman Avenue down to one lane in each direction.
It's that complete streets model.
Absolutely.
So
you got it.
people actually have a chance to see what shops and
That's
stores
right.
there are to
And
offer,
you could do parking in front of stores, whereas instead of a fast lane and a slow lane, you know.
Because before the street, and I know a lot of people didn't like it because it's
They did the same thing in Miller?
Oh yeah, I mean it's slowed down traffic because it's narrow. I mean you really have to be careful.
Now you can see the shops.
You can see the shops. The trees that were there are gone, so there's new foliage that'll be there. But it has been, painful because it has been difficult for some of the businesses, right? Because we've had construction now we're in the third year.
That's right.
So
That's right.
It's tough, and so but we're hoping that with the pain there'll be some gain, right?
That's it. That's what you hope for.
You're an author also, right?
I am.
Your faith is obviously a very important part of who you are.
It is.
That's
it
great.
is. So I did go to seminary after law school.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I really was interested, and still am, in religion, faith, and politics. And one of the things that book is about is how progressives often shirk from talking about their faith. It's as if you have to be a Republican or a right-wing Republican or
I agree
evangelical to actually be a person of faith.
Pete Buttigieg talks about that a lot. Pete Buttigieg says, God doesn't just look at the Republican Party and things of that effect.
That's right.
Exactly.
But you're right. Sometimes Democrats or progressives, they'll almost well, I better not talk religion.
I know. You do notice that. It seems like we've ceded religion to the Republican Party.
Which is absolutely. Our values about taking care of the poor, of diversity, and embracing difference, treating others how you want to be treated. Right. I mean, educating, our citizens. You can't read the Bible, right? You can't read the Torah. You can't read the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is that you read, right? So it's so important. Healthcare. Right.
Yeah, I mean, care for the sick.
Exactly.
Care for the immigrant. Care for the the marginalized.
Those are the tenets, right? So
your book was Blue America's God.
That's right.
Nice. I like the subheading.
Can you
Reflections
get it
on faith and the future of progressive politics.
That's right. You can get it on Amazon. There's probably a few copies left.
Awesome,
maybe out of print.
I know Richard's got one because he sent me a picture
I think he has one. He should have one.
He better have one.
Autographed or no?
Yeah. It may be autographed. I'll check on that. Absolutely.
So you and Richard become friends right off the bat in law school?
We did. And so
he's a great guy.
He's really great. Extremely smart.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, obviously you're extremely smart also.
Got to keep up with Richard.
Going to University of Chicago. By the way, for those that aren't familiar, University of Chicago Law School is probably top 3 in the country.
Top 5 for sure.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally, you're talking Harvard, Yale, Stanford, University of Chicago. They're all there.
Well, it's a small, about 200 students, right? So
I went to Notre Dame. Yeah. We only had 150 per class.
Wow, that's excellent.
Now it's a lot bigger because they've expanded the law school.
We got to bring in more money.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Right?
It costs money to go to law school at Notre Dame.
So I should mention, guys, I'm on Amazon right now. There is only one copy.
Time for you left. Time for the publisher to get moving.
I better make some more then, right?
Get on there and buy that book, whoever's watching.
Who's going to get it?
Bring the price up.
That's it. Yeah.
How long did it take you to write?
I spent almost a year.
Because I've been trying to write here and there, and it's I've actually got 3 or 4 chapters done, but I can never
It's a dedication. I mean, you really have to. I think start early for me, early in the day. And
in the morning?
Early in the morning.
Like what?
Before the day gets crazy.
Yeah.
Even 5 a.m.
Right. So you wake up early, go to the office?
Wake up early, and or just, in your home office or in your laptop in the bed or wherever. But just kind of start your writing before the emails and the calls and the text and the distractions start.
So you did that for a year?
I did. And it was very instructive, right?
How long per day would you write, William?
A few hours.
Really?
Yeah. And so you edit a lot of stuff, right? So
got to reread.
You got to reread, right? And if I wrote the book again, I probably would edit a whole lot more.
Right? Isn't that interesting, right?
You're like, I said that? Oh, wow. Yeah. Right. So that's how it is. And I guess that's part of growing, right? There are things that we've said and done in the past, right? Hopefully your
views may have changed over just a couple of years.
You've seen more. Absolutely.
That's really cool, man.
So what about the transition? Okay, so from author, law school graduate, Obviously you got a divinity background. How do you go from kind of, okay, I'm doing stuff here in Chicago, South Side, I'm a real estate guy, to I'm going to run for something in Gary, which is my new hometown. You're not a Gary native.
No.
And sometimes that's hard. I can tell you in the region, when they have somebody, he's from outside, man. He's not from around here.
We ran into that, Kevin.
Absolutely.
I grew up in California. I mean, and I had connections to the region, but running for office in Northwest Indiana when you didn't grow up here is not the easiest thing.
Oh, he's an outsider. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to focus on the vision, right, of what's possible. And the importance of service and really getting out. I have a very diverse district, right? So we talk a lot about Miller, but it's not all lakefront, right?
That's right.
There's every economic level. We have religious diversity, racial diversity, economic diversity. So it was
Lifestyle
so important.
Diversity.
Lifestyle diversity, right? It was so important to really get out and talk to people, meet people, hear the concerns, and try to speak in a way and to connect in a way that is relevant. Right, for a diverse.
The council person before you, was it Marilyn?
No, Rebecca Wyatt.
Rebecca Wyatt, also an attorney.
That's right. And a lot of lawyers.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Was that you guys ran against each other? Obviously,
we did.
Primary.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys all right now, or is it still? I mean, sometimes when you run against each other, like, I mean, you guys all right? Or
I think so. I hope so.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it can be the thing about local politics. Right? We talk about Trump or Biden. It's kind of far. Right, you can get on Facebook and say whatever you want, but they don't care. They won't see it. You won't see them,
That's
right?
True.
Local politics, I'm going to see you at the restaurant. I'm going to see
running
you
at the grocery store.
Exactly, right? So
personal.
when you have these conflicts, right, it becomes very personal.
So did you ever want to practice law? I mean, you and I, it sounds very familiar. I went to law school, passed the bar. I don't actively practice law, but I could, and by the way, I have friends sometimes that I represent or former baseball players. A lot of times I end up representing them, but like, it's nice to know I could practice if I want to, but I mean, you never really...
I will do a little in terms of real estate law, some small business, but I try to keep it focused, right? Because it's a lot. You have to stay current on a lot of topics, especially if you're going to be a generalist. So I try to keep it very narrow.
So your focus is your real estate business.
Yes. Yeah, that's primarily.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
It's good to have a legal background.
It is, and it's a great time to be in the real estate business.
Yeah, it is.
So the market is very hot.
there was a bit of a shift change, right, in Gary politics when you ran. I mean, you had a new mayor.
Right.
You got a couple new council folks.
Well, 5. One had already served years prior, but it was sort of 5 newly elected, right? If you put it that way.
Out of 9, so a majority newly elected council people.
Right.
So it's almost it's a different situation. New administration, new council in a way. So how did that affect your, I guess, vision or priorities for the city?
Well, I think that for me, it's a matter of COVID kind of messed up everything.
Sure.
I think.
3 months after you take over your first term, right?
We're in a crisis, right? I think it's a matter of trying to communicate well, right? With sort of diverse visions, diverse standpoints. I think it's about building trust, right? I mean, politics can get nasty, right? Somebody supports somebody and somebody supports somebody else. And so I think getting beyond that and focusing on, okay, what can make the city better? What are the issues that, that we can put forward that will actually have a transformative effect? I think at the end of the day, while we may have different ways of getting there, we all want to see the city of Gary improve.
And you're talking the administration and the council both want the same goal.
Absolutely.
But you may differ on how you're going to get
the
there.
tactics, right? I mean, different. And what's interesting is that, even with the school referendum now, right? So, my district, the majority of my district in 2016 did not vote for it.
And they just missed it. It was close, right?
For the whole citywide, it was a less than 2%, I think, difference. And, I looked at it and told people, why are you supporting the referendum and da-da-da-da. And, I think you have to look at every situation differently, right? It's not 2016, it's 2020. We know the situation that the schools are in. We know that referendums seem to be the order of the day in terms of what the state is going to.
That's not changing going forward.
You're not giving money away.
If you're going to give money to schools, it's going to have to be through referendum.
Right. And it's painful. I mean, I and I understand that from a taxpayer perspective, the way wants to pay more than they are currently paying.
If you're in Cook County, you're paying a lot more.
A whole lot
so just
more,
come on over to Gary.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Gary's interesting, right, to me, because Gary schools, have suffered in a way that I don't want to say like from an educator perspective, but they've suffered in that it seems like charter schools have taken over, and it's less of a choice to go to a public school
than there is
to go to a charter school.
How many public schools are in? Charter schools.
I'm not sure the exact number of charters. There's definitely at least,
Dozen?
I would say at least half the students in the city are going, if not more, are going to charter schools.
The thing about the charter schools is a lot of these charter schools are getting bad grades from the state. They're failing, So it's one thing, like we have a charter school in Hammond, Hammond Academy of Science and Technology. It's getting B's from the state, which for an urban city, that's like, I'll take that all day, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I think our charter school gets thrown under the bus because there's so many poor performing charter schools. I'd say most of the charter schools in the state of Indiana are poor performing, unfortunately. And fortunately for us, ours is doing really well in Hammond, but I think that's part of the rub. I mean, in Gary, you have the Gary schools under state takeover, basically. So the citizens of Gary don't even have the First Amendment right to put a school board member on that actually has power.
It has power, exactly.
So, William, so then tell me why is the referendum important?
Well, I think
given those situations with the schools.
Right. I think that I want us to have a public school system.
Yeah.
And I don't see it
and a powerful school board. I mean, you want them to be empowered, right?
Exactly. I don't see us being able to exist or be viable without this. Because clearly there's an operational deficit every year. Teachers are underpaid. It's not competitive. They're losing teachers in the middle of the year. People, teachers don't wait till the December break.
And that can't be good for students.
Oh, absolutely not. We know that the resources and technology that's needed to keep up with current trends in education and the workforce, those improvements need to be made. And I think if you go through a third failed referendum, that sends a strong message to the state that we're just not interested in putting skin in the game.
I agree with you.
And I don't see how we, not only as it relates to schools, I think all of our cities, are in fiscal crisis.
So you see this as a critical vote?
It is. And, ultimately we have to live with it. Right, whatever the people decide. That's the beauty about referendums. You can't blame me, right?
That's it.
It's all of us, who get to choose, what we want. And I think when we start talking about how do we grow, right? How do we bring in families? How do we get folks who have kids to come and live in a community? They want there to be well-funded, high-performing schools.
It's funny. I was looking at schools I was looking at homes at Hammond, and I was going through Zillow. Okay?
Yeah.
And I click on one house, and it was great. And then I started flipping through, and then they have this part on the schools down there, and they're just ripping Hammond up.
And yet look at the housing market. They're going
on the beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood, a house that if my son or my daughter wanted to buy a house there, I'd be like, go for it. This is a great opportunity. And then anybody that's not from Hammond and familiar with that neighborhood would just flip through, and then they would see the schools. And Zillow was just hammering on Hammond schools. Yes. And Hammond schools it's an urban city. We have poor kids. We have kids that struggle. We have kids with broken families. Like this is, unfortunately, in the cities, the northern cities of Lake County, you're going to have more poverty. You're going to have more need. And because of that, they're penalizing our housing market.
Well, and we also, and the thing about Hammond is we've got great facilities, great physical structures, great teachers.
The schools are gorgeous.
Absolutely unbelievable. So, you're right. It's unfair because it's just some website.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you experienced that in Gary.
Oh,
some website says this is a terrible place to live, place.
Well, as realtors, we're not supposed to talk about schools when you're dealing with clients, right? The quality of schools, because that's a fair housing issue.
Really?
But, it comes up, right? I mean, people mention it, and you have to be careful with that.
You're like, sorry, I can't talk about that.
You can't talk about it. But you can't necessarily control the comments section, right? No, so when people get on there and they start talking, it's
could I move on to another subject?
Yeah, sure.
There's something that William and I have in common, and I wanted to bring it up. The councilman is a big proponent of a residency ordinance in the city of Gary, and Gary does have a residency ordinance right now, which requires that all city employees outside of police and fire, that doesn't qualify in this, all city employees have to live in the city of Gary to work for the city of Gary, and we do that in the city of Hammond right now. And Councilman and I don't know each other extremely well, but I tell you what, I follow him very closely, and he pushes great issues. And this is one of the issues, I think, coming from a city councilman, a first termer, that's so important in the city of Gary right now.
Well, and Mayor, a little history before we turn it over to William is that I remember when you were elected in 2004, that was one of the first orders of business.
That was one of my
all your department heads, because your predecessor didn't push that, and he had a lot of his circle of big department heads were living in Dyer and Highland.
My Hammond street commissioner, when I took over, lived in Dyer.
Wow.
I'm like, how the hell does a guy in Dyer know what the streets are like in Hammond, right? So that was a huge issue for me. So obviously, when I read about William's background, I'm this guy knows what the hell he's talking about.
Well, and when you live in a community, I'm not saying if you don't necessarily care, but when you live there, you know more and you care more, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes a difference, and I get it, right? Our city has challenges like a lot of cities in terms of the schools or jobs and crime, public safety. We're very aware of that. But I think at the end of the day, if we aren't willing to live right where we work,
I agree.
It sends a bad message. And it also doesn't help us in terms of filling the vacancies, right? Getting people in homes and, getting people, because you tend to eat and shop near where you live, right? Buy gas, all of those things, which have so many benefits. And so I think that one of the things that we should all focus on is incentivizing residency, right? So how can we, whether it's through down payment assistance, whether, whatever we can do to try to get people to.
And Mayor, you've done that with. I know you've done that with police.
We do with police and fire,
safety.
and we do it with new citizens that want to buy a house. We have a program called Homebound where you can get down payment assistance to get into the house. Mm-hmm. But with the police and fire who cannot require to live in the city of Hammond, we give them something called a residency bonus, $150 a month.
And take-home cars are only available if you live in the
Hammond
city.
residents.
Right.
So, like, if you're a cop that lives in Porter County or outside of Hammond, you cannot have a take-home vehicle. You do not get that residency bonus. And I've had police and firemen moved back to Hammond just to get these types of things.
That's what you want to see, right? Because when you live on a street and you see a police car and you know a policeman's on your block,
no doubt,
that's great.
That's a reassurance.
Right? I think you feel good.
Absolutely.
Hey, Councilman brought something up that obviously when Gary's having a challenging year right now, crime-wise, and what's your view on that as an outsider coming in? I think that's a total advantage, William. Is I always tell people, I think one of my advantages as mayor is the fact I didn't grow up in Hammond and see things. I think you sort of look at it differently when you're an outsider. Like, why do we do this? It doesn't make sense to me, right? So you moving into the city, obviously, Gary's got a historical issue with crime problems. And what's your opinion on this whole matter?
I think it's so sad. It really is because, I've had friends, right, in the city who've lost people this year. I mean, the violent deaths, the lack of respect for life, whether you're disputing over a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or you looked at me the wrong way, or it's sad. Mm-hmm. That's the first reaction. But secondly, I think that it just reminds us that police are not the answer necessarily, right? There's so many social work and other resources that are needed to flood the communities. I mean, having strong schools that wrap around the community is extremely important. Having more police officers who are community-oriented police officers, right, who are on the streets, who are working the neighborhoods, who can see problems weeks, months, years, days, seconds, right, before they actually erupt, because they have that inside track. That helps. And, when we don't have a lot of officers just because of the financial difficulties, who are able to be on the various shifts. And so they're stretched. I mean,
and it's a big city.
It's huge.
Land-wise.
I mean, you're talking 56 square miles. That's tremendous.
Twice as big as the city of Hammond.
That's a lot, right?
Square miles.
Size of San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
When you're trying to,
with 1/11 of the population.
Yeah, you're trying to police and do roads and all the rest. So
fire,
fire,
I mean, you're
absolutely.
stretching fire twice as much distance as well.
It's a big thing to do.
It's a challenge.
And so I think the more we can do in terms of community-oriented policing, I think rebuilding trust between the community and police, and that's a national issue, is so important because sometimes people don't talk. They don't want to say anything.
All the time.
They're afraid.
You can't get a witness.
Exactly. You can't get a witness. Or even when someone sees something or sees a problem that's probably about to happen, being comfortable calling a number and knowing that you're anonymous or what have you, or you'll be protected. Those are the kinds of things we have to look at.
What do you think, like, just as a starting point? Like, what if you said, okay, this is a starting point. This is what we got to do first. How do you prioritize those things?
I think community-oriented policing.
Yeah,
that's something that we can grow. If we can get more officers on the street, we need to hire more officers. We need to make sure those officers have mental health de-escalation training, that they have implicit bias training, that they understand that it's, again, we ask a lot of police officers. I mean, they are counselors, social workers, helping people solve their problems, and so they need the training and support.
As a sociologist, I mean, what do you believe? I've heard this like back and forth that social workers should go out with police on certain calls. Do you agree? Disagree?
I agree. In fact, I did a ride along, I guess last summer, with an officer within my district, and I saw that. Right? I mean, you saw situations where older parents couldn't handle their child.
What about body cams? What's your position on that?
I think those are good.
Yeah.
We need, the more information we have, the better. I think it holds everybody accountable.
When I first became mayor, we had these discussions, let's say a decade ago, and the FOP was uniformly against it. They did not want it. Now we've had body cams in Hammond for over 3 years now, maybe even 4 years. And when you talk to the officers now, they wouldn't get rid of them because
It protects them too. It goes both ways.
Big
Heck
time.
yeah.
Right.
Big time.
You have everybody. Can
How
see
about
that.
LPRs? I mean, that's one thing in the city of Hammond. We have the entire city wired with a camera system that catches license plates coming and going at all hours.
I think that's good, and it's expensive because data storage. But I think that it is the more information we can have about who's coming in. If you drive around Gary, there's a lot of people coming in and out. Right, we have a lot of Illinois plates, which I'm sure you do.
Yes, sir.
And folks who's we don't know where they are. Right, are they not necessarily tied to the community in any way? But it's important to know who's coming in and out.
Last night I was at the Steel Yard and drove my
Golfing.
drove my Mustang. I took the red car. I drove in there and then hit some balls in the Steel Yard. They set it up as a driving range, like a Top Golf kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty
repurpose.
Yeah,
awesome. I remember. So I'm leaving, and as I'm walking out and going to my car, one of the people that worked at the Steel Yard was like, "Mayor, you're by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm by myself. I drive myself everywhere." And they're like, they thought it was unusual that I would drive myself and be by myself.
You've never had anybody drive you.
I don't ever feel unsafe in Gary. I don't ever feel unsafe in Hammond. I'm sort of used to living in an urban area, and I'm very aware of at all times. But I definitely think, I know this is an issue right now because I read about the councilman's comments about what's going on with the Prince administration. I don't know if you feel like talking about that issue with the security or if you...
I'll just say that it was brought to me. I didn't go looking for it.
Right.
That's number one. And, I get it. Right. I understand that there are challenges. It's a big city.
So, I mean, basically he's using taxpayer-funded bodyguards. Is that the issue, or driving him around, or?
Well, I think there's a lot of vehicles, right? And there's a lot of personnel that are dedicated to it. And so we have to look into that, right? Are there better ways we can do it? Are there ways we can cut some of the costs? And it's not a personal attack on him. I think that's how people want to portray it. It's just a legitimate question, right? About,
traditionally, right? I'm going back to like even Rudy. Like I'm going back to Rudy Clay, right? Traditionally, the mayor of Gary has had a driver and security detail.
Karen had it.
Right.
Rudy had it. I don't
Mayor
remember.
Barnes. I don't remember
if Scott King had it. I'm not sure he did.
I just don't remember. Did he?
Okay,
Okay, so
he did
with reserve officers. I believe.
Yeah.
So it's gone back. I mean, at least that's in a sense, that's something that has been around a while, right?
I could tell you, just knowing the mayors as well as I do, there's two mayors in Indiana that have a taxpayer-funded security. It's the mayor of Indianapolis, which makes sense. I mean, there's a million people, and Mayor Gary. I mean, so it is unusual. And I could tell you that myself, this is Tom McDermott, Mayor Hammond speaking, if I felt it necessary to have a security detail with me, I would pay for it out of my campaign. I would never hit the taxpayers up for that charge. And quite frankly, mayors usually have at least six figures in their campaign account. Security definitely could be paid for out of your campaign account. I just think it's when you're charging it to the taxpayers, I think that's where, if you do feel that unsafe and you do feel it's necessary to have taxpayer-funded security guards, I would definitely do it myself.
Well, and the part of the, at least from the article I read, William, is that it seems like you're interested in figuring out how expansive is the security detail. Is it the mayor? Is it other people involved with the mayor, his family, whatever? And I think that's just
like, are they taking his kids to school?
I don't. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know. Right.
Right.
I don't know. Again, I said I've heard rumors.
Right.
Right. So we asked about the fact. I think he said that it's being used in part for families for security concerns, as you mentioned. That
I think that's over. If the security guard's picking up the kid and taking the kid to school, I think that's way over the top. Personally, that is
well. And is part of it like kind of the messaging or the perception that is that what you want people to think?
Right.
That you need to have your kids taken with a security detail to school. I mean, is that the right messaging for folks that just live in Gary?
Right. I think it's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think that look, I know that if I were a judge, right, certainly a criminal judge, I'd be, you're making some big decisions, right? Sending people to incarceration, right? And so there's a lot of folks and police officers, right? I mean, whose families are also subject, council people, right? I mean, we take votes on things. People are angry at me for a variety of reasons. And there's a lot of folks who are just
social media. There's a lot of things going on.
People attack you. And so it's, I try to always be vigilant, right, of my surroundings. And I think, like you said, maybe on the radio, you know what time to go out and what time not to, and to be, so I think we all have to be vigilant. And I think we just need to fund police in ways that are community oriented and focus on getting them as many resources as possible to help us all.
If I was the mayor of Gary, and I looked at the councilman in the 1st District raising issues like this, I would probably feel threatened that possibly this person's gearing up to run against me in 3 years. Do you think that Mayor Prince feels that way about you, William? I mean, you got great credentials. You're a super smart guy. You live in the city. You're bringing up issues that I'm sure make him red in the face because he doesn't want to talk about some of these things. Do you think that Mayor Prince thinks that you might be running against him?
He may, but I'm not. And
well, you're not announcing that, are you? I mean,
I'm not running against the mayor. Here's the deal. I think that people say that kind of stuff, right? Oh, if you're asking questions, if you're being engaged, you must be trying to see. I have a great career, right?
You're 10 months in as a councilman.
Yeah, right. So and even my personal career, right?
Sure.
Which is
Real estate,
I enjoy. I'm proud of the company that I've literally built from scratch. I didn't inherit my business. No one gave me some big loan or investment. It's literally from scratch, right? So for me, that's what I'm proud of building and trying to build a great company in the city, but also be a responsible, engaged city council person. Now, I know that's going to bring on attacks, right? So anytime you're outspoken,
well, there's always,
there people are looking, they're coming for you. Exactly,
right? So,
which is why I keep my receipts. I keep my records. I keep my paper trail because there will be, attacks.
That's good.
And so, but I'm not a weak person. So if you come for me, there will be a response.
There you go.
And I think that's one of the things that, we had our disagreements about some things, but I think that's one of the things
There's
that
the boxing gloves.
I admire about the mayor, McDermott, is that, he's strong, right, in his response. So, and I think that you have to be strong because people are always looking to attack you.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Councilman said something earlier that, sometimes in politics you're on opposite sides, but at the end of the day, you got to step back. And, even though you and I may have been on opposite sides of issues before, I respect the hell out of you. I think people like you, great, educated, keep carrying people that move to Gary. We need people like that in our world. And I was mentioning yesterday, and Gary, Dave from Gary, we call him Dave Gearman, right? He was Dave from Highland when I first met him, and he moved to Miller. He's one of your constituents. Now we need people like Dave in Northwest Indiana.
Dave is incredible. Yeah, he's not only a constituent; he's a good friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. By the way.
I helped him get his home
and
everything.
I didn't realize that.
So it was. He has been a godsend to me. And I'm sure he's probably listening, maybe.
I believe it. He listens.
He's probably like in Tennessee driving or something like that.
Oh, right, maybe. But yeah, I mean,
he drives all over the place.
He is a friend, an advisor. He has, helped me in ways that, I can never thank him. And I have so many people who, really embraced me throughout the region, right, as an outsider. And so, I'm thankful for that.
I got one last thing I want to cover, and we should probably start wrapping up. But a good friend of Kevin and I both, Mike Brown, was involved in a serious car crash. He was the council president, and I know you assumed those duties since then.
He was our county clerk for 8 years. And
Mike and I have been friends for a very long time. Right. He's such a wonderful person. And, we heard during the congressional campaign that, Mike and I have been friends forever. And he wanted to be out there strongly supporting me. And obviously he couldn't do it because he was just involved in the wreck. Is he doing all right? Is he getting better?
He is getting better I didn't expect in January to end up assuming this role when I was elected vice president by my colleague at a reorganizing meeting. So it has been a great learning experience, and he is someone I respect, as a dedicated public servant. And a lot of people ask questions, where is he? I'm like, let the man recover. Yeah. Let him heal.
It was a big accident. It was a big crash. I mean, he's suffering. I mean, and I want Mike to know we're all rooting for him to get better.
Scary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't realize, honestly, because him and I would talk on the phone, and he was saying he couldn't go outside without wearing glasses, and it was a really traumatic injury. I mean,
absolutely. And I think that, we're certainly ready for him to come back as soon as he's able.
Is he able to do Zoom, or is he just...
I'm not sure. I don't know about the visions and trying to keep up with everything.
Man,
and
horrible.
And
we send our best out to Councilman
Mike Brown, who I'm sure is listening also. I know he's a huge fan of yours, William, and he's just a wonderful person. We're thinking and praying for you, Mike, and your family. Wonderful family.
Yeah, Councilman, before we finish up, why don't we give a plug of your business if you're interested in real estate in the Miller area?
Sure. Godwin Realty Company, gogodwin.com. We serve Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. Our heart is Northwest Indiana. It's a core of our business, small properties, big properties, land, commercial, residential. So, we try to be community oriented, try to give back, try to be involved, and small brokerage firm, and try to recycle the dollar. That's right.
You got it in the office.
Yeah, I do. But I'm by appointment because I'm on the move usually. So we keep our costs very low.
That's it.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming on.
The city of Gary is lucky to have you. I mean,
well, I'm blessed to be there.
And I want to get to know a lot of the other council. I know a few of them anyway, but like I tell you what, William, when Gary elected you to become their councilman in the 1st District, they did a great thing for their city, and just keep working hard. And I know it gets rough sometimes, but I think what you're doing is good for the city of Gary to move it forward. And I wish you the best of luck. I really do. And I appreciate you coming on Left of Center.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me,
Absolutely.
and look forward to continuing our dialogue and seeing how we can learn from each other.
You got to come back.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you.
Thanks,
for coming on Left of Center. All right.
Thanks to our audience for watching Left to Center. Great time, another great show. We had a huge audience, and again, I'd like to thank Councilman Godwin for being our guest this week. And we will be back next Tuesday. I'm not sure if we have a guest lined up.
It'll be a nice surprise.
Yeah, we'll get back to you then. So thanks everybody at Left to Center.